All right, welcome back to Waste Some Time with Jason Green. I am Jason Green, bringing you brand new interviews right here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Today is the interview that people from Tromaville and all over the world have been waiting for. My guest is the CEO and founder of Troma Entertainment. He is also the creator of the Toxic Avenger. What have I learned from Lloyd Kaufman? Well, first, don't touch a hot light without wearing gloves. Very important lesson. He says that they should teach it in film school. Of course, I've also learned the Troma rules of production. Rule 1, safety to humans. Rule 2, safety to people's personal property. And Rule 3, of course, make a good movie. And so that's something that stayed with me. But more importantly, in the words of William Shakespeare, to thine own self be true. This is something that Lloyd teaches, and you don't have to wait for opportunity in the film business or any business. You can make your own, and Lloyd Kaufman has proven that, and he's here right after this. Just wanna waste some time with you. Some time that seems too good to be true. Nobody out there to waste time with that. All right, all the way from Tromaville, Lloyd Kaufman.
Great to see you, Jason Green, and 50 years of Troma, and you've been a major part of it, Jason Green, and we're very grateful.
Well, thank you, Lloyd. It's an honor, and so many people have gotten their start with Troma, and so many young people, this is their film school, and it doesn't cost anything. Your film school was working on movies like Rocky, Saturday Night Fever, pretty incredible. My film school, Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD, and Romeo and Juliet, very similar.
Well, you make your own damn movie. That's the key. That's what we do here at Troma. 50 years of making your own damn movie. Yeah, the only downside is how do you get people to show up at your own damn movie? And how do you make a living and pay the rent and feed your little ones and pay for porn? How do you do all that? You have to make movies that people want to see, and also very hard to do it these days with the industry being controlled by a small number of these giant streaming services and studios, and they kind of control everything. So
I'm not sure a company like Troma could exist under today's standards. You can get your movies seen, but like you said, can you make money doing it? And is independent art as appreciated as it once was?
Well, even getting your movies seen is difficult, right? Yeah. My guess is I'm going to be paying people to watch my movies in the next generation.
Yeah. Well,
it's you know, as an artist, that's what we care for. When, in fact, when there was all that hullabaloo about Netscape, was it Netscape or the file sharing? Remember all that crap?
Napster?
And I didn't care if a little fat kid in the is trading movies and gives a link to his friend, or their friend.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. I want people to see our movies, but if they're making money off our movies, like those genocidal dictator, victimized, miserable Chinese government that bootlegs every movie Troma has ever been involved in, and we get not 1 cent. I don't care for that. No.
Yeah. Lloyd, I want to rewind just a little bit and tell people maybe how that we first met. Long before I wanted to be a struggling musician or a struggling journalist, I was a struggling actor. And I had an agent in New York City. He gave me a call. I was in high school. I had to go to a payphone to call my agent every day to see if there was any exciting work. And he said, I've got a part for you, and it pays nothing. And I said, what is it? And he said, it's a movie by Troma. And that was all I had to hear. I grew up watching Squeeze Play in between the pixelated lines because I didn't have the cable. And I was hoping I'd see a boob or two. And then, of course, the Toxic Avenger. It changed my life like so many other people. I said, I've got to be part of this movie. I got hired to be an actor person on a couple scenes on Sergeant Kabuki Man NYPD. I tell the story that my first day on the set, a naked woman falls out a window. I was fortunate to, at that age, what a moment, something I really could appreciate. Probably couldn't do that under today's standards. And then
very high floor, right? It was a high, like a 13 stories.
Maybe more. It was huge.
Yeah, more than that.
Building in Harlem. And this a man dressed as a woman, which is now much more accepted and popular, took the stunt, and then the naked woman was on the ground. And what a great day for cinema. What a great day for young me. And I got called back to do a scene where Sergeant Kabuki Man transforms, which was filmed at a park in New Jersey. So the Statue of Liberty was in the background. And I worked up the courage to talk to you and tell you what a fan I was of Troma. You gave me a vial of the Toxic Avenger cologne, Toxic, which was incredible. And anyway, we stayed in touch. I visited Troma, became a script supervisor, something I didn't know what it was until I got there. And you guys needed some extra dialogue. An actor was leaving, and you said, you went to film school, damn it, you can do this. And I've told this film school this story a few times. We made notes, and you told me it wasn't stupid enough, and you threw it at me and said, rewrite it, which was very good advice. I told that story to Premiere Magazine once, and you taught me off the record. So a lesson that I learned from you. Anyway, so at that point, I was working with you at Troma. They asked me if I could fit into the Sergeant Kabuki Man costume. I was slender back then and could. I did probably 100 or so wraparounds, movie introductions, parades, parties, bachelor parties, kids parties, appearances at Gracie Mansion, all kinds of odd things, and also appeared in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade with you dressed in the Toxic Crusader costume. Not only do you own the company, create the characters, but you also wear the costumes and support and the independent art of it. So anyway, that's my background. Troma, at one point you asked me to write a draft of the movie Romeo and Juliet. I had no idea what to do. I wasn't very good, but it was an honor to do it. James Gunn, of course, he's gone on to make a few movies now, and he finished that draft with you. And I had fun working on that movie. And so anyway, that's my background with you, Lloyd. And I thank you because I got to tell you, that was my film school, but other things too. You are an inspiring person. You treat the person from Hollywood Reporter to the kid with the fanzine exactly the same. You never treated people different. Someone who's working for free, who might be younger, their opinion was as respected just as much as Stan Lee or John Avildsen or some of the Oliver Stone, some of the big people you worked with. So it's a testament to who you are.
Thank you for all kind words. I'll actually, John Avildsen is the one that put me onto you, because originally I was going to use the text from Romeo and Juliet, and Avildsen said, no, don't do that. I had given him the themes I was going to work on, but he said, redo it and get some high school kids to talk and use their language. So that's where you came in.
Well, it's funny. It's funny to know that.
But good for you that you had the courage to try it.
Yeah. Well, and listen, Avildsen was a hero of mine. He directed Rocky and The Karate Kid, two all-time great movies, and worked with you. Obviously, you worked on the movie Rocky. He thanked you at the Academy Awards, which obviously is quite some honor. So I'm honored to have been a part of Troma history in any way possible. Last year, 2 years ago, excuse me, you were here in Las Vegas screening a movie, and I moderated a Q&A with you afterwards, and we talked about going out for the anniversary of Toxic Avenger and doing some of these sit-downs with the Troma fans who really are the best movie fans around. And then, unfortunately, the pandemic happens. We all get stuck at home. And luckily, you are back at Troma right now, right?
Yep. Well, there's a mask mandate here because the middle child, Elizabeth, who you might have met in the old days, she gave birth last night. So they don't want, the wife and the daughters don't want me to be here unless everybody is wearing a mask.
Right.
Yeah, so
and you were wearing
I
it.
have
You just
mine,
took it
and
off.
everybody here has been wearing them when I'm here.
Yeah, you just took it off for the interview, but when they were setting this up, yeah, you had it on. And congratulations on another grandchild.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, so I like when people congratulate, like you had much to do with it, like you were giving birth.
Well, I'm still alive. I suppose that is something to be congratulated. The fact that and Troma's still here, thanks to you and our fans. No question about it. That my career would have stopped probably around the what I would say when just around the time that the rule the all the rules against monopoly had been gotten rid of. So that's why there are no independent studios left.
Well, Troma is
gone if it wasn't for the internet, and because our fans were able to talk to us and tell us kind of what they want and give us opinions. And our fans write the hashtag Shakespeare's Shitstorm was written by a Troma fan. And I'm not talking about Shakespeare himself, but the guy who brought the Tempest into Tromaville and made it improved upon Shakespeare's work. The actors are all Troma fans. There's a couple of thousand people who are involved.
Your studio has evolved. Troma is the world's oldest independent entertainment company, and you've evolved with that. You've been in the movie business for 50 years. Troma 47, I believe, somewhere around there, right? Yeah, give or take. And so Troma has evolved. I want to say, Lloyd, I know a lot of people who watch this interview are interested in the first hideously deformed creature of superhuman size and strength, the Toxic Avenger. Toxic Avenger, in a couple of years, is going to be 40 years old. It's hard to believe. I was in Walmart, Lloyd. Walmart, the corporate conglomerate company Walmart. And they have, by Mego, the Toxic Avenger dolls, figures. You can buy Toxic Avenger collectibles at Walmart. You could also buy them at Troma.com. I never thought I would see such a thing. It really is the world coming all around, I think.
It's amazing. Well, there's a lesson there, right? You, to thine own self be true. It just may take 50 years to get there. But if you are sort of an artist and you enjoy doing what you do, eventually you'll succeed. Maybe
your toys will be at Walmart.
I mean, I got no complaints. I have many regrets, but I can't complain. I'd say I've been pretty lucky, right? I know you. That alone is nice. I mean, all the people who I've met in my 50 years, they're all great people. I've met so few nasty folks. It's amazing. The people who come out of Troma, they're the nicest. They're mostly because they're motivated by a love of cinema. James Gunn, Eli Roth, you, Gabe Friedman, Samuel L. Jackson, they all love cinema. They're all there because they love cinema. They're not there because they're trying to make a formulaic ripoff of whatever.
Whatever the current trend is. You obviously gave a lot of opportunity to these people. In 1983, the headline was "Horror Movies Are Dead," and you and your partner Michael Hurst decided to make a horror movie, which would end up becoming the Toxic Avenger. I love the marketing of the Toxic Avenger. It reminded me of Frankenstein, not showing the monster's face in the original trailers or on the posters. It built this sort of hype to the movie. So the original Toxic Avenger is written by you and a man named Joe Ritter. And what became of Joe Ritter? That is a name I have not heard since.
I don't know.
There he is.
I don't know, but I was very generous to give him the screenplay credit.
Gotcha. Yeah. So
Thank you. What's that?
Was he a writer or just someone who worked around there and kicked around a few ideas?
He was assistant cameraman. And he wanted to write a script, so I gave him the treatment. And but by the time we shot the thing, it had very little to do with what he wrote, unfortunately. But
interesting, yeah.
Anyway, he got he's got his name as a screenwriter on an iconic movie, Toxic Avenger.
Well, and he has his name on.
He should have been able to convert that into something.
That's what I was wondering. We haven't heard from him since. He also has his name attached to the reboot, which we'll talk about in a second. Toxic Avenger, Samuel. We'll get to that. Samuel Weil, though, or Weil, was the name you had to use because of the union. Explain that to people who might not understand.
Well, if you want to pay, well, in order for us to pay the rent at Troma, when we were beginning in the early 70s, we had to make some money somehow. And so I was a hot, low-budget production manager. And I worked on Joe. That's where I met John G. Avildsen. And so I would get paychecks, and that's how we paid the rent of Troma. And that's why I worked on some of these movies, as well as trying to learn a little bit about making movies. I didn't go to film school. I just made the movies. So the idea was...
you joined the union.
Well, I had to join the union because John Avildsen wanted me as assistant. I can't remember what it was, but eventually I had to join the Directors Guild. But as a member of the Directors Guild, if I wanted to be a production manager or assistant director or a director, I would have to do it on DGA, Directors Guild union approved movies, and which I did, except for the directing part, which I couldn't use my name because I'd get kicked out of the union, and then we couldn't make any money to pay the rent. Mm-hmm. So I got brought up on charges numerous times. I would use the name Samuel Weil, which was my great-grandfather's name. And Michael Herz's name was there too. So when they put me up on charges, the union put me up a few times, and I basically would just say, "Hey, I'm a very strong producer. I'm on the set. Sometimes I tell the actors what to do." David O. Selznick did the exact. Irving Thalberg. There's no reason why I can't be as strong. And they never kicked me out, but it started. They started pressuring me, and the guy who ran the Directors Guild in New York threatened our receptionist, and, for some reason, something about big fines. Going to fine your boss, $15,000 fine, which back in 1984 was a big deal. Anyway, by the time Troma's War came along, they put me on trial, but they couldn't get me because I didn't put my name in the credits. And as director, and what they couldn't do anything. So
yeah,
I eventually resigned from the Directors Guild once we got once we got moderately successful. I resigned. Sent them a nice little love letter about instead of harassing your members who want to make art, why don't you let a few women and people of color into your union? Mm-hmm. And I hereby resign.
I got
nothing back, but it's all in my book. It's all the sad story, the history of up till 1994 of Uncle Lloyd and Michael Herz Troma team. It's in All I Need to Know About Filmmaking. I learned from the Toxic Avenger. I think there's a picture of you in there too.
I mentioned in there, and that's an honor. And we'll put a link in the description so that people can order that and some other Tromabilia.
The most important thing is we've created Troma Now, and we've put all our own money into it, and it's for our fans. And we're slowly growing Troma Now. It's a few years old. But there's an app. You can go to the App Store and get the app for Roku and Google Movies and whatever else it is. Tubi, Booby, whatever. So if you want to preserve independent cinema, Troma is the last voice crying out in the desert. You don't see our movies on Amazon or Netflix or any of that stuff. Not because we don't like them. It's because they don't give you any money.
They were there at one point. Yeah, but they're no money.
Well, it goes down. They reduced the amount of our share, and in fact, I've heard they've demonetized a lot of independent artists YouTube channels. They have demonetized them. So the only ones that are monetized, I guess, are the YouTube channels of major people like the wonderful Joe Rogan. I'm sure YouTube loves him because he gives out so much genuine, irrefutable information. Joe Rogan, right?
Yes. Well, most people do get their medical advice from failed stand-up comics and UFC ring announcers. But
money. It's all about money. Samuel Fuller, who you know, the great director of Shock Corridor and other movies, House of Bamboo and Steel Helmet. And, brilliant. He told me every problem can be deconstructed to money and sex.
Yes,
he said women.
Right. Well, it was a different time.
He told me that he was like 83 years old or something, and now you can't say that, but you can say money and sex, I think.
Right. I hope so, because I'm monetized, so I don't want to lose it. Over that. Lloyd, I want to get back just a little bit on Toxic Avenger. I know you've talked about it.
By the way, we have a YouTube channel that has 600,000 subscribers, but we moved all the movies off because YouTube stinks. And but we do have a lot there on that free channel, Troma Movies on YouTube. It's mainly a lot of music videos and
you produce in-house entertainment as well, in addition to the movies. There's lots. Sometimes the greatest stuff is the behind the scenes of a Troma movie. That stuff is so entertaining to watch. It's not as easy to be there in person, living through it, but to watch it later is incredible.
Yeah,
Lloyd, Toxic. Go ahead.
People don't, until you spend some time on a Troma set, you can't possibly understand it. It's really a unique, we're making. Go on. I'm sorry, Jason.
I watched one of your documentaries, obviously, and I thought I would love to be in a Troma movie now that I'm older and wiser. But what I would do was pay for my own hotel and pay my own way. Do the job, understand you'll be around for a while, and then go home and be excited, and honored to be in this movie and know that it's a long process and it's going to be a little, people are going to get angry. And the great moments, I always remember when you would proclaim, it's asshole time. I knew when you said it was asshole time, someone was going to get reamed out, and I was just hoping it wasn't me. But you were always correct. There was a young person doing sound, and you said, somebody is riding the game. I know it. I've been in this business at that time, who knows, 35 years. I know it. You said, I've done sound underwater. I've done sound in caves. I've done sound in people's assholes. And I know when the sound is wrong. And then you proclaimed that it was asshole time. So being on a set is an experience. And I still want to be in a Troma movie. I feel like I've paid my dues. But what I'm worried about is I am reading the press releases and the publicity for the upcoming hashtag Shakespeare's shitstorm. And one of the promoting factors is they're saying this may be your last movie before you go to the big director's chair in the sky. That scares me, Lloyd. Could this be the end?
Well, Jason, unless I find a one-of-a-kind script that is absolutely knocks me out, I probably will confine myself to producing. And right now I am producing. We just finished the Mercedes, the Muse new film, Divide and Conquer, and we put it on Troma Now for a week to give our subscribers an opportunity to see it before the small number of theaters. Also, the Final Beginning, Slashing Part 2, produced that, which is now on Troma Now. And Mutant Blast is a new one that Michael Herz and I produced with a very good director who worked for us. And now we're going to make a movie I will produce it rather, in Tennessee, if you want to come down to the area, Nashville area.
I'm ready.
I'm not directing it, but it should be a good one.
Yeah, well.
It's an anti-hunting.
I'm completely for that. So sign me up. I'll send you my my resume. Lloyd,
well, if you want to come down there, you'll be great.
Just make sure that you don't treat my part like you did the song that I gave you for Shakespeare Shitstorm, hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm. You picked a great song off my Sin City Rejects record, and I don't think it's in the movie. But but I know I'll make the final cut of this anti-hunting movie, so I'm going to be there, and then we'll promote that as well. Lloyd, I know
you. Possibility. I don't know. I could be my fault. Maybe I just didn't. I've got a lot of moving parts. I
get it. You did choose the song.
That your song was great. I don't know why we never used it.
Well, heads are going to roll or be crushed, a full head crusher.
Maybe we didn't want to ruin your reputation.
Listen,
did it to protect you, Jason.
That could be it. Lloyd, I know we talked about Toxic Avenger a million times. It obviously, Toxie is the Mickey Mouse of Disney. Long before there was a Marvel cinematic universe, there was the Troma cinematic universe, and the world.
Well, there was a Marvel comic book universe, which I imitated with the Troma universe, but they didn't make the movie universe till later, right?
Right.
But they had the comic book, which was a big inspiration to me.
And there is a Marvel Toxic Avenger comic book and a Toxic Crusader comic book through Marvel. Sure and you were very good friends with Stan Lee, who made his final appearance in a Troma movie, not a Marvel movie. His real acting performance.
Very true.
Was in the
great guy, wonderful guy. He was a wonderful guy, and we had some good times together. And he was a big influence on my outlook. As was John G. Avildsen, as was Jacques d'Amboise of the New York City Ballet. And, I had a pretty eclectic group. Again, I'm 76, so the people who inspired me are a generation or so prior to Jason Green's generations.
Well, I think Stan Lee crosses all generations, and he was so beloved. I was fortunate to meet him with you several times, and when he would do interviews, I would be in the Kabuki Man costume. He had a great sense of humor. He got it. He was fun, and I think you have to be. To get Troma is such a great thing because it shows that you're in on the humor of it. Again, so Toxic Avenger, this builds the company. It's still great to this day. That movie doesn't get old. New generations discover it. But I have to say that allegedly this year, the reboot of the Toxic Avenger is coming out. Lloyd, I didn't believe it. Last time we spoke, we both didn't believe this movie would get made. It seemed like maybe because the Toxic Avenger character has been optioned a few times. Yes. And then the movies don't get made. Or sometimes they option it because they have a similar property and they just keep Toxie away, which is a story about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and things like that going back quite some time, or Swamp Thing. So, but finally, it appears that this movie has been filmed. Is that true?
Yes, it has. Directed by one Macon Blair. Very good young director, terrific. So I'm certain it's going to be very good, but I don't really know too much. I mean, I was on set a little bit, but basically it's all Macon Blair and Peter Dinklage, who's been in the papers recently, been on whatever, creating some dust.
Peter Dinklage is the actor in the movie. He's a little person, I believe is the correct term. You never know anymore. He's going to play the Toxic Avenger. Is that right?
He did it. It's done. It's in the can there. I would guess by now. In fact, I have it on my calendar, my very organized calendar. You can see here, beautifully done. It's on my schedule for today to call Legendary, our boss at Legendary, and see what's the latest.
You probably can't spoil this, or I don't even know how much you can say, but so will the Toxic Avenger be a smaller person, or does Peter Dinklage turn into a big Toxic Avenger?
That's a very good question. I don't know that I had to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure something or other, so I cannot tell you that I don't want to be a spoiler, so I can't tell you that the Toxie will be a very little Toxie. I can't tell you that,
no,
because otherwise I would be breaking the NDA.
Right, and you don't want to do that. I understand.
No,
But
definitely don't want to do that. Anyway, the movie's going to be great. I've seen some of the rushes, some of the dailies. I have not seen the rough cut, but I'm sure it's going to be top terrific.
I am told that this movie is going to be PG-13. This is geared towards.
No, that's wrong. It's going to be R-rated.
Okay, that's breaking news, because they were trying to put out that maybe it was going to be leaked for a younger audience.
I hope not. That's not what our understanding is. But again, it's up to Legendary. You know, we don't have a lot of. Whoopsie, we don't have a lot of. You know, we're producers in basically we're producers in name only. You know.
Well, hopefully you have a nice payday though, so that Troma can continue.
Well, the nice thing is we are getting some money out of this already, which is very helpful.
You're checking your pockets right now to see if you have it.
I just dropped this. Just dropped $1. Trying to figure out which pocket it's supposed to go in.
Kevin Bacon.
My battery. Hold it. I got to put in a cable here.
All right,
Sorry.
you do that.
Oh, here it is.
Upcoming movie. Kevin Bacon, Elijah Wood, and Peter Dinklage. This is not like any other Troma cast. I'll tell you that. I think people are excited. I think people will also go back to the original movie. Whether this one holds up, who knows? But it brings attention to Troma. And then the Toxic Crusader, which was the very successful cartoon character, I think it brings people watching those again. That was video games, sneakers, toys, everything that Toxic Crusaders. Lloyd, who wrote the song for Toxic Crusaders?
Toxic Crusaders, toxic. You mean that song?
Yes.
That song was written by none other than, oh, Christ. Anyway, he's the showrunner for the comic book, the nerd show.
Big Bang Theory?
Say it again.
Big Bang Theory, no?
Yes, Big Bang Theory. He's Mr. Showrunner. He's the number one TV showrunner. Incredible. Chuck Lorre. He wrote that song, and he also wrote the pilot cartoon for the Toxic Crusaders cartoons.
It's incredible, yeah.
I haven't spoken to him for a long time, but at the time he was a huge Troma fan.
He's done okay.
He invited me. He was showrunner for Roseanne, which again probably before you. No, anyway, you remember Roseanne?
Yeah.
Anyway, he was the showrunner for that, and just about every successful comedy show, and a very good guy, very nice guy, loves Troma, and I wish he'd take my call. I mean, great guy.
He's done okay for himself. Okay, Lloyd, you're not here just to reminisce about old times. You also got new things. Troma is always moving on, always progressing. I love how cutting edge it is. I just looked at the EPK for the brand new #Shakespeare shitstorm, and things are, you guys are still high tech. Troma's getting it done. Maybe having young people around is not such a bad thing, because the product is polished and pushed, and you guys work extremely hard. I believe it's going to have a New York City theatrical premiere. Is that true?
That is true, Jason Green. It's going to #Shakespeare shitstorm will open in New York, at least as the plans stand, and again, depending on the COVID thing, the 8th of April. The theater is the Cinema Village. Also, at the same time, there will be a premiere at the Museum of the Moving Image, which is a big honor for #Shakespeare shitstorm. And there are one or two other theaters, the Pioneer Theater in Brooklyn. We're putting together what we hope will be a reasonable group of theaters.
This is how you always did it. You would get Troma movies into New York cinema before any other independent people could do it, and you always have. This is the Troma way. These movies will play in a theater.
Well, people like them. The thing is, the theaters make most of their money on food, right?
Popcorn.
And the Troma young people, they like the food in the theaters, and a lot of the theaters now have you sit in the seat and they bring you food, and you can order beer.
Booze too.
the Alamo Draft House type places. Our demographic is not as big as perhaps Belfast, but they eat more.
It is, yeah, very, very good point. It's very fun to see a Troma movie with an audience, though. It is sort of, it's an experience. I went to the Las Vegas screening of the Return to Class of Nukem High, aka Volume 2, and I remember seeing you, because you don't always watch the movies, you've seen them a lot, but I remember watching you off to the side, waiting to see the reactions to some of the scenes, and with a proud smile on your face. This was not a movie like any other movie. I said, what will Troma do in this day and age to compete when now, because you can make your own damn movie, something as a Toxic Avenger might not be shocking? Well, you did it. It's an experience, and people are laughing, and some people are uncomfortable, some people closing their eyes, and but it is an experience that I think is a lost experience. I don't think people are really... Now you go to see a movie in 4D, 5D, and they throw things in your face, and the seats shake, and and the movie probably sucks. But in this case, you have human interaction with these movies.
You're correct, and it's just a matter. We've never had any money to advertise, Jason, so it's all word of mouth. People like you and our fans. Really, we're blessed. We are blessed with the wonderful fans, because otherwise we definitely wouldn't be here. Well, you've seen the conventions. It's we go to about 35 movie and comic book conventions around the country, or around the world, actually. And they're always, the booths are fan operated. We don't pay people for that.
This is something.
They can have a pass, and, pizza for lunch. That's about it. And I can.
You were ahead of your time with that too. You were, I remember going to San Diego Comic-Con with you in the 90s, and that was, you were always ahead of that and always interactive with your fans. Also, while everyone else is charging $1 million for a signature, you would sign whatever somebody brought for free. You respect your fan.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Stan Lee, basically, I've hung out with him since my days at Yale University. And, he always was in the trenches. And he enjoyed it. I enjoy it. I love meeting the fans. It's so interesting, the different variety. We have PhDs. We've got military people. We've got grandparents, grandchildren, 4 generations of very interesting fans. For the most part, they're not rich. They're good, solid people who love cinema and who are good American citizens and want to try to have a little something other than baby food when they go to the movies.
Yes, right. They don't want to be spoon-fed the same nonsense. And so Troma does that. What about the Troma Dance Film Festival, which is another big event coming up?
Well, thank you for asking about it. When Trey Parker, Matt Stone, and I went to Sundance the first time, they and we were shocked by how unpleasant the atmosphere at Sundance was and how rude they were to genuine independent filmmakers like us. So Trey started his own Cannibal the Musical Film Festival. One movie, which he rented some kind of a board room, a big room during Sundance, and showed Cannibal the Musical for free, and it was a huge success. And apparently, the Sundance VIPs, the elite, were very upset by the fact that this was heavily advertised. So the next year, we started Troma Dance, where you could submit your movies for free, because you have to pay to submit the movies to Sundance, and you never get in unless you've got somebody like Elijah Wood or somebody that has some juice.
Elijah Wood, Kevin Bacon, or Peter Dinklage, all of the top.
Well, I don't know about those, but Elijah Wood, there's some young guys who are producing good movies, but they have the juice to get into Sundance. Unfortunately, we are the Jews who don't get into Sundance. So in any event, we set up Troma Dance. You can submit your movies for free. You can watch the movies for free. and no VIP policy.
Yeah.
So this year, the 22nd year of Troma Dance, you can still submit your movies for free, but the venue, because of COVID, is going to be at the Mahoning Drive-In, so which is a fabulous one of the few remaining
drive-in,
and a real drive-in with all the accoutrements, and so that's July. I think there are 3 days in July, but you do have to buy a ticket, but it supports the drive-in, and also we have to get people up there. We just can't afford to do it.
It's great that you've continued that tradition. As you talk about some of the people like Matt and Trey, I was with you at the American Film Market. Lloyd, I've always said you have an eye for talent. They brought in Cannibal the Musical. You asked me to wear the Kabuki Man costume and watch the movie with these guys. I was probably out partying and slept a little bit, but the mask was perfect to conceal that. And I didn't completely get it. When I worked with you on Romeo and Juliet and James Gunn submitted his writing sample, I didn't completely get it. You did. There was a lot of urine and vomiting and sort of performance art, I would say. When they attempted to cancel him, I thought it was ridiculous. First of all, people are grasping at straws, but you knew talent, and it's obvious. These are not the only people that have started with you. You personally chose these people to be involved.
Well, no question about it. Thank you for saying that. And indeed, they're all nice people, too, like you. They're all wonderfully decent, kind. Very few shitheads have come out of the loins of Tromaville. Michael Jai White, again, I don't go out drinking with him, but, we see each other from time to time. What a lovely guy. Same with James Gunn, Eli Roth. They're all, Trey and Matt couldn't be nicer. Again, I haven't sort of lost touch with them.
Well, that happens, but going to one of these film festivals or film markets with you, the amount of characters that Lloyd, is so interesting. And I'll give you a couple examples for the audience. One night, I'm in the Cannes Film Festival with you, and I have big black eye makeup on because I just got done playing Kabuki Man for a screening or something. And Sherry Lansing, who was once one of the most powerful women in Hollywood and the CEO of Paramount, she decides that, Lloyd, she needs to take you for drinks, and you decide that the guy who plays Kabuki Man needs to come along because you don't treat people differently. And
she was running Paramount, right?
Paramount, yeah.
Yeah, she was lovely. Lovely woman.
We go to this dinner or drinks, and then Ridley Scott is there. And Ridley Scott, another very successful director, he's happy to hold up the latest copy of the Troma Times and discuss the history of Troma with us.
We used to have a newspaper called the Troma Times that came out 4 times a year, I guess. And it was kind of like Mad Magazine, but it promoted our movies. There was no internet. We mailed this thing. It wasn't even email. We didn't have email. So and Sam Arkoff. It was interesting, the people that actually read it. Sam Arkoff, who ran and created American International Pictures, which is where Roger Corman made all his great movies. He actually read the Troma Times and enjoyed it. He'd send us notes. And there were people who read it. And, it had the Mad Magazine footnotes and goofy kind of stuff. And I remember I held up the newspaper like Harry Truman did, where it said Dewey wins. Like we did some kind of parody of that on the front page of. But we had Ringo Starr. We had all sorts of interesting people in the Troma Times.
Of course.
Jeff Sass, remember him?
Jeffrey Sass, of course.
Yeah, he and I spent hours and hours of wasted non-revenue producing time writing the goofy stuff in the Troma Times that would promote, obviously the new movies, and we'd pass them out. That's what we used at American Film Market or Cannes or whatever. It was the Troma Times. That was our big giveaway, other than the specific movie posters or what have you.
Yeah, Troma Times. So that was a big thing when you would run into someone, you take a picture. But in the world of Troma and the world of Lloyd Kaufman, these characters come and go. And sometimes it'd be someone like Quentin Tarantino, who is a fan of Troma. He worked in a video store. Other times, John Travolta will be passing by, who you worked with on Saturday Night Fever. And then sometimes you get these characters like Uri Geller, who is a legendary mentalist. And he insisted on...
Travolta came by at Cannes, right? Because I can't remember why, but...
he was promoting Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, but he... but I can't remember why he came to the Troma office. It was very nice of him. And he had these big bodyguards with him. Anyway, it was very nice of him to stop by.
Yeah.
And he was nice enough to take Margot Hope, who made...
Femme Fontaine, Killer Babe for the CIA.
That's it. Yes. Femme Fontaine. Yep. She very much wanted a picture with Travolta, and I asked him out in the hallway if he wouldn't mind taking it, and he did it. He was very, very nice. Yeah, definitely the bodyguards were definitely not too interested in wasting any time with us.
Right. Well,
the Troma team.
But Uri Geller, he's a mentalist. He came into the office and he told me that you said that he could have a Toxic Avenger toy, and I told him it's in one of these drawers, but I'm sure you know which one. And then he insisted on bending my keys. Because he bends spoons and I didn't have a spoon, and I still can't get into my house. The key. But there is a circus that follows you of all people, but they all love you, Lloyd. And
the Uri Geller thing, I was in his house in London. He's got a palatial house outside London, and he basically rubbed the key, my house key, did that, and the thing just like. My penis, kind of, but the key did work in my front door.
Okay, he went easy on you.
I still have that key. I don't know how he friggin' does it. But another one of our proteges, actually, you might have met him, Andy Deemer.
Deemer. I remember Andy.
He was on Tromeo for a while, and he produced Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead. But he is now a very successful magician. And he was just on the Penn and Teller TV show where you have to stump the magician or something. And he's very good. We've had him at a couple of, because he can do it on Zoom, we've given he has an act that he can do on a magic act that does on the line. And we've hired him a couple of times for birthday gifts to people.
Do you ever shake your head, Lloyd?
He's very good. He can take the spoon. He does it with the spoon. And
Lloyd, do you ever shake your head and go, what the fuck is this person up to now? Everyone in your world becomes some kind of character or something.
Well, Andy's doing well. He's been in the magic business for maybe 5 years maximum, I think. And he's taken off. I mean, really, he's doing, his show is terrific. My guess is, he's already doing Magic Castle in LA and stuff like that. And the Penn and Teller TV show, I'm sure he's going to be a very, very successful magician.
Yeah, well, it's amazing where people, the influence starts with one thing at Troma, and then who knows what they go on to. I won't keep you all day, Lloyd, although I do enjoy talking to you. The influence, though, as I said, is there when people work for Troma. You can do anything. If you have an idea to be a writer, a producer, a director, you will listen to them. You will give them time. If they have a script, you will give them a chance. And the idea of make your own damn movie, produce your own damn movie, your whole line of teaching, it goes through into life. If I wanted to do one of these podcasts, I auditioned for MTV and all these things a million times. And you have to have a look and a type and a this. But if you follow the Troma way, and now more than ever, through your cell phone and your laptop, if you have something, you can get it out to people. And it takes work, but it can be done. And so that do-it-yourself method, it works very well, Lloyd, and has influenced so many people.
Well, thank you, Jason. And you've been a great friend and supporter. So thank you very, very much. I'm only sorry we haven't been able to have a good time in Las Vegas for 2 or 3 years, but we will. That will be remedied hopefully in the coming era.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully next year we get back to that, and hopefully, because the Toxic Avenger will turn 40 in a couple years, I would love to do those Q&As with you, with the audience.
Yeah, let's do it.
After those. I think it'd be really great, and I'll get my own hotel room and my own flight, and so that I have no burden on the Troma universe. And it's exciting because I'm so happy to have Troma in my history. The people I've met are incredible. I'm still friends with people to this day. I had Jane Jensen on the show not too long ago, who played Juliet in Romeo and Juliet. And how
is Jane? How's she doing?
She's doing great. She has the anniversary of her record out, and now she makes meditational music, which is very nice if you need to meditate. And she's doing very well. So
great.
It's I'm honored to be part of the world that you created, Lloyd. It's the Lloyd Kaufman Troma universe. We're just living in it.
You're very kind, but Michael Hers and our fans and the Troma team and our beautiful wives, we each have been married. Michael and Maris they're in Florida this week celebrating 50 years of marital bliss.
Wow, that's amazing. And you're getting pretty close yourself.
Yeah, next year will be Troma and Pat and my anniversary, 50th.
Michael Hers has sort of become the silent partner. He doesn't like to be on camera and do these type of things. He did for years, and he's very, very funny.
Oh, he's terrific.
But no more of that, right?
He doesn't like to be on the outside. And he's, as you know, a very attractive guy, funny as fuck, and a good guy. But he just doesn't like, whereas I'm a narcissist. So, as unattractive as I may be, I enjoy going out to what's the one, Cinema Wasteland or these crazy convention center.
You guys
we're going to the tattoo convention February 25th. We'll be there for 3 days in Philadelphia, the big Villain Arts tattoo convention. Come on out. And also, we've got a screening on the 25th at the Philadelphia MoCA, MoCA, and they're going to screen # Shakespeare Shitstorm that same weekend as the whatever it was I was talking about. And
yeah, go ahead.
And I think we're also the Angry Video Game Nerd. I think is going to. He's a big fan, so I think we're going to. While I'm in Philadelphia, I'm hoping we'll be able to spend a little time with him, and maybe I can interview him or he can interview me.
Yeah, and it's great, Lloyd. You keep moving. I think if you stop, you'll lose your mind. It was really fun though to watch you at home on your Instagram, sharing your wife making dinner each night, and it's hysterical. Your reactions to things made for a lot of people, especially myself, who were sitting home, sitting here looking at our phones and really enjoying these fun little bits that you were putting together. And you were practicing music again?
Well, Blue Apron, our son-in-law, created a company called Blue Apron. It's on the New York Stock Exchange. And it's a subscription food. They prepare these gourmet meals and takes about 20 minutes to cook them. And they have a vegetarian option and a meat option. That's gourmet meals for $18 for two. $18 or maybe $20 for two people, and you get enough food for 3 people easily. Blue Apron, check it out, folks. It's very good. And I filmed Pat, the commissioner. I filmed her trying to cook, and she's usually very nervous because she's never cooked. So it's sort of funny to bother her while she's trying to prepare some elegant vegetarian dinner.
Those videos are great, and now it's great to see that you're getting back out on the road, doing what you do, because this is you've got to keep swimming, as they say. Lloyd, I hope we get another 50 years of Troma. You've got to keep it going. You're the last of the independent studios.
That sure is correct. You are absolutely 100% correct. And again, thank you, Jason. It's you know so much about Troma and filmmaking and independent culture and music, obviously. So it's really I could go on for hours. So many of these interviews, the people have no idea what Troma is or who I am, or I can always tell because at the beginning they say, "So tell us a little bit about who you are."
I love Lloyd. I love the Blockbuster movie, not because of the Blockbuster, but your appearance, where the person interviews you and obviously has no clue who you are, and you call them out for it, and then continue to explain all the problems with Blockbuster. And so you're great. And I could talk to you, Lloyd. You know how to promote. You know how to be entertaining. You know how to sell. I think I've learned most of these things from you. I only hope to continue the way you've taught.
Well, thank you, Jason. Let's keep in constant touch. The commissioner sends you her love, and you now have a third uncle child. You are now the uncle to 3 mutant grandchildren, grand monsters.
Yes,
absolutely. All right, you're going to lose all your fans. I should probably split because
no. YouTube's calling to demonetize me right now. All right, Lloyd, love you.
Thank you, Jason. I love you. Okay. Thank you very much. By the way, give if you have a second, give Bill a call at the Sci-Fi Cinematheque.
Sci-Fi Center, yes.
Yeah, give him a call because I think he's having a tough time with the COVID and all that. Let him know. I'll definitely do an evening for him. No problem.
Yes, I think there's a lot of opportunities. A lot of opportunities here. Thank you, Lloyd.
I'm waiting for my patron to get me transportation and a hotel and whatever for Vegas. We got to wait for the end of COVID. But
yes.
Anyway, I'd love to get together with you and have a good time. And all that.
Absolutely.
And
okay,
please give Bill some encouragement because he's a great guy. Again,
yes.
Loves cinema. Doing everything himself. Everything. So he's done everything himself too.
Lloyd, I'll come out to one of these things. We'll make something happen. I'll let you get back to work.
Thank you.
Thank you,
the best to you, Jason, and to your folks.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Bye-bye.